Hey there, you ever wonder how a computer actually reads? I don't just mean flashing pixels on a screen, but how it really truly understands text. Well, today we're going to pull back the curtain on the one concept that makes it all happen, what programmers call a string. And by the time we're done here, you'll get the two main tools that let us teach a program how to read. Okay, so first up, let's dive into the secret life of strings. You see, to a computer, a sentence isn't just one single thing, it's more like a string of pearls. And our job is to learn how to look at each one of those pearls one by one. So check this out. You and I, we see the word hello, but a program, it sees a sequence of totally separate characters. It sees an H, then an E, then an L, another L, and finally an O. Every single one is its own piece of data. And believe me, their order is everything. You swap them around and you've got a completely different string. All right, so if a string is just a sequence, how do we actually walk through it and look at each piece? For that, we need the first big tool in our toolbox, the loop. It's a really simple but crazy powerful way to tell a computer, hey, I want you to look at every single character in this string one at a time. Let's make this real with a classic little challenge. How would you tell a computer to count up every single S in the word Mississippi? I mean, you can't just tell it to find the S's. Nope, you have to give it a super precise step-by-step recipe. And that recipe, that's exactly what a loop is for. And here is what that recipe looks like in Python. Just focus on line 9 in the code. That one little line for C in text.value, that's the magic right there. It's basically telling the computer, all right, go through the string Mississippi one character at a time. First time through, make the variable C equal to M. Second time, make C equal to I. Third time, S. And so on. Then, inside the loop, we just ask a really simple question. Hey, is this character C we're looking at right now an S? If it is, boom, we add 1 to our counter. That's it. Okay, quick pop quiz. Thinking about how that loop works, how many times in total does the program have to run through that loop for the word Mississippi? If you said 11, you nailed it. It runs once for every single character in the string, putting each one under the microscope for just a second. So that first loop is awesome. But it has this huge blind spot. It can tell us what each character is, but it has absolutely no idea where it is in the string. And what if the position, the address of that character, is actually the most important thing we need? Well, for that, our simple loop is totally useless. We're going to need a new tool. And this right here lays it all out. On the left, with our first loop, we can pull out an S from the alphabet soup. We have the character, right? But look at the right. What we often really need is not just the S, but also its exact address, knowing that this is the S at position 2, and that other one is at position 3. That's a whole new level of information. So how do we solve this? Well, with a super important idea in programming called indexing. Just think of it like this. Every single character in a string gets its own unique street address. That way, we can find it and work with it directly, anytime we want. Okay, now this is probably the single most important and, kind of weird thing you gotta remember. Look closely. In the world of programming, we don't start counting at 1. We start at 0. So the very first letter, P, is at index 0. The second letter, Y, is at index 1. This is called zero indexing, and it's absolutely fundamental. Once you get your head around that one little quirk, everything else just clicks into place. So this is our brand new, much more powerful loop. Let's tear this thing apart. For I in range of len s. Okay, first, len of s just asks, how long is the string Python? The answer is 6. Simple enough. Then, range of 6 creates a sequence of numbers from 0 up to 5. Sound familiar? Those are our indexes. So you see, this loop doesn't give us the letters directly. It gives us the index numbers, 0, then 1, then 2, all the way up. And now, inside the loop, we can finally grab the character at that address using SI. Boom, we have both the address and the letter. All right, enough with the theory. Let's see this thing in action, because this is where it gets really cool. And you can see why knowing a character's position is a total game changer. Take a look at this. On the left, you've got our new indexing loop, and it's searching for the letter E in the word awesome. Now look at the output on the right. How in the world does the program know where to draw those red boxes? Well, the secret is on line 10 of the code. The horizontal position is calculated with 45 times I. That little I is our index. It's the secret sauce. When it finds the first E at index 2, it does the math. When it finds the next E, at index 6, it uses that new number to draw the box way further to the right. This kind of visual trick it's impossible to do without knowing the index. So, there you have it. We've just added two absolutely fundamental tools to our programming toolkit. Each one is designed for a very different job when it comes to reading and understanding text. The big takeaway here is just knowing which tool to grab from the toolbox. You just have to ask yourself one question. Do I only care what the character is? If you're just, say, counting vowels, then the simple for C and S loop is perfect. It's clean, it's easy, but the second you need to know where that character is located in the string, you need the power of indexing with for I in range len of S. Choosing the right tool for the job, that's what so much of programming is all about.
You know, these two loops, they might seem simple, but they are the absolute building blocks for pretty much everything a computer does with text. From checking your spelling, to powering a search engine, to analyzing books, it all comes back to these simple ideas. So the real question isn't just about code, it's about what's possible. Now that you know how to teach your program to read, what stories will you teach it to understand?